Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to another video. Today, I'm actually going to focus on something a little bit different for you guys. All right. Today, I'm going to focus on cameras for tourists. Now, I'm doing this because, as you guys know, I'm in Miami, Florida, and there's an abundance of tourists out here that really. They're not photographers, they're not videographers, they don't have YouTube channels like we do, and the only thing they actually want is a camera that is good, that is easy to run, easy to operate, that is not very expensive, so that they can actually capture some of these very wonderful and memorable moments, while you're traveling and while you're with your family. And so I decided to make this video based on that. So what I did was I went out this week and I bought several cameras, which today I have one of them, which is the Sony. All right, this is the Sony. As you can see here, the Sony. It is the ZV E10. All right, the Sony ZV E10. This camera I bought it from Best Buy. I paid $800 for it. 800 plus tax was like 840 something, I think, right? But the one that I got was the one that comes with the kit lens. And the kit lens that it comes with is a 16 to 50 millimeter. Let me switch the cameras here so you can see a little bit better. All right. It is the 16 to 50, okay, millimeter lens, as you can see it there. It is a very nice camera, right? There's nothing negative in reality for the price point that I have to say about this camera, because in actuality is really nice. All right, it feels good on the hand. It is not big. It is very light. And what I like about this camera for individuals that are doing like the traveling thing and they want to film themselves, it has a flip out screen. All right, in which when you flip it out, ma'am, okay, you can actually see yourself. All right, so if you're doing selfies and that sort of stuff, it's really really wonderful. Now, the build quality on this camera, all right, is obviously it's not a Leica and it's not a Fuji camera. Okay, Leicas and Fuji cameras, the build quality is a very very stellar, very solid, very metallic. All right, this is not that type of a camera. This is made out of plastic. All right, and you can see the inferiority of the camera when you look at this. For example, I'll show you a couple of things. When you see this right here, you see the back screen. All right, you see how it moves back and forth. All right, it's not solid. The hinge that you see right here is not like really super solid. You don't see that from Fuji cameras, and you don't see that from Leica cameras. You only see that from cameras that are made out of plastic, that have plastic bodies. But even with that said, right, the camera itself is not a bad little camera, all right, because it does a lot of stuff for the price point in which you start with. For one, it has a wonderful mic up in here. It has a very, very good mic. So you don't have to go out and buy external mics and that sort of stuff. Everything in this camera right here, in this kit, is ready for you to go out and use just like it is. Now, there is one caveat, and that caveat happens to be with a lot of the Sony cameras, and is in my perspective, right? Because I'm very particular, right, and very how can I say it? I'm very um, I'm just a person, right? That for me, colors are very important. All right. And I'm talking about colors that are true to life. All right. Not colors that are, um, uh, that are oversaturated, that are colors that are too blue, too yellow, too magenta. I'm not for that. I like colors for a camera to have the capability to represent true colors. Now, the biggest problem that I see in all of the YouTubes that I have seen, even the people that are actually using Sony cameras, is that they are not colorists, all right? And because they're not colorists, they don't know how to actually set the camera to where your skin tones look like your actual skin tones. Not overly pink, not overly pale, not overly white, you know what I'm saying? But actually what you truly look like, you know what I'm saying? And that is an issue that I see in a lot of videos, okay, that I look at YouTube, right? And that's okay because the idea behind it, right, for YouTube is to create and to create stuff that's entertaining, right? But this camera does have the capability to give you true live colors. All right, it does have it. You just have to set it up, and you have to know how to set it up. And I'm going to put a video up for you, all right, with these settings, all right, that actually set the profile. You have to set it up as a profile, which when you finish setting up the profile, the colors look true colors. In other words, your green that you are seeing, with your eyes is actually the green that the camera is actually reproducing. These Sony cameras are terrible when it comes to color accuracy, and as far as true life. They create beautiful colors, but they're not true to life. All right, and so with that said, I need to also tell you guys that it does have the capabilities. You just have to set it up, and but I'll share with you those settings on this particular camera. So if you do go out and you buy this camera, you can set as a profile, with the settings that I actually put, on the description, so that you can actually go out and shoot and end up with true to life colors. Now, with that said, this camera has a interchangeable lens, all right? And so what you have here is a camera that as it comes, all right, it is very wonderful for just a grab and shoot type camera. But if you want to go a little bit more and you want to do, like, let's say low lights photography, or actually to shoot and film something at nighttime, I do recommend you to get one of their inexpensive lenses. And I'm not trying to, yes, there's better lenses that are more expensive, but within the price range that this camera has, you can get a 50 millimeter, a Sony 50 millimeter 1.8, all right, which is a pretty decent fast lens, and it's like $200. So you end up with a camera for, let's say, $800, okay, which is what this camera costs with the kit lens, and the 51.8 for $200. You end up with a camera that is for under $1,000, a camera that is good, for just about everything. Low light by using a 50 millimeter 1.8, and your regular zoom lens, which is the one that it comes with, which is 16 to 50. Now, with that said, when you turn the camera on, all right, what's nice about this camera, all right, is when you turn it on, okay, you can see how the lens protrudes, but you also have a rocker up here that you can take your lens and you can zoom in or out, depending on what you're shooting, which is really nice if you're doing video or you want to get a closer shot, those sort of things. That makes it, really, really nice. It has a button, okay, up in here. Let me see if I can show you. It has a button right up in here, all right, where you can actually, right there, all right, where you can, let me put it backwards the other way, sorry, okay, right there, okay, so that you can select whether you want to shoot stills, or whether you want to shoot film, or whether you want to shoot slow motion. That's what that S and Q is for. So it has that capability. All right, it has a lot of flexibility. Uh, when you turn your screen backwards, it protects your screen. It does not have an EVF, so that's a little drawback if you are used to using an EVF. But for the price point, you just only thing you really need is this right here, and that's really all you need. The camera itself, in my opinion, for what you pay, see that? Okay, the camera itself for what you pay is really a good price. It's really a good, solid camera. Do I recommend this camera? Well, if you're a beginner and you are going to be using it like for traveling and for tourists, absolutely. I do recommend this camera because it's small, it's easy to use. You don't have to be a photographer, all right, to be able to take good pictures with this camera, nor a videographer, nor somebody really professional. The only thing you have to be is somebody that wants to go out and capture some moments and have fun with your camera, not trying it, not having your camera slow you down from having fun because you don't know how to operate it. So from that standpoint, the camera is a wonderful selection for you. But if you're going to look at this camera in a professional level or um, a situation where you want to do a little bit more on the pro side, I do not recommend this camera, all right, because although you can do many things with it. There are better solutions for the price point that will give you a much more professional setup. Now, with that said in mind, right, that professional setup that I'm talking about is also harder to operate because now you need to know a little bit more about controlling your apertures, your shutter speeds, and all that other stuff. So if you're looking at something that is easy to run, easy to operate, easy, like a running gun, buy it off of Best Buy, get it off the shelf for $800, $799 plus your tax, and you have to add an SD card because it doesn't come with an SD card, right? Then yes. Now another drawback that this camera has is if you are going to buy this camera, you definitely want to buy at least a couple of batteries because the battery in this camera is not good. All right, the battery in this camera might last you maybe a couple of hours. I took it out to Vizcaya this yesterday. As a matter of fact, I went out to Vizcaya yesterday, and I'll put on the video. I'll put some photographs, where I took this camera and I actually took a picture with this camera, and I took a picture with an older iPhone that I have. I have a 14 Pro Max, iPhone, which is what I'm shooting this video with. And I also have the 15 Pro Max, but this one is the 14 Pro Max. And I took both of these and I shot them side by side. Why did I do that? Well, the reason that I did that is because there's things that you really have to think about and you really need to look at. Today, in today's technology, the iPhone technology is tremendous, it's huge, it's wonderful. And I think that, in my opinion, I think that the iPhone 14, which I happen to pick this one, you can pick it up for $400. All right, it's a 256. I think that picking up an iPhone 14 Pro Max might be a better solution for you because everything is there on the iPhone. You take your picture, you take your video, you can upload to your Instagram, to your Facebook, and you're done, right? So if I was going to compare it to the iPhone, I would definitely stay with the iPhone because of much better quality, much better flexibility. This camera does not do 60p. The iPhone does. What I'm saying? It's a lot of things that the iPhone 14 Pro does much better and much more than what this little Sony camera does. But if you want to have a camera besides your phone, that you can, because you liked it. You like the feel of the camera, you like the ability of changing lenses, all that stuff. Then yes, I think this Sony will actually do very well for you. I think it is a great choice, definitely a great choice from all the cameras that I tested within the price point for ease of usability. The other thing that I looked at, okay, when I selected these cameras was not only the ease of being able to pick one up here in the US, because here in the US, everything is very accessible to us, right? But when you travel, when you go to some of these countries in Central America, South America, or some other countries, if you pick up something like maybe a Fuji, which I love Fuji cameras, they're not as accessible as Sony cameras. Sony is a brand like Canon, and like Nikon that is all over the world and it's easy to get to, all right? Because people tend to pick these cameras up, so shops actually have them in stock. For that reason alone, Sony, is definitely the better choice, better than the Canons, better than the Nikons. Sony is the better choice, better than the Fujis, better than the Nikons, better than the Canons. Just for that reason. So these are things that you need to think about, as far as also being able to pick up accessories for it. It is easier to pick an accessory for a Sony camera than it is for a Fuji camera or a Nikon, or even a Canon, because Canon has this little thing where they just don't want to third parties to create lenses for them and blah blah blah. That's a whole different story. But when you look at the whole picture, when you look at everything, Sony in reality is your better choice. Well, I hope that you enjoy this particular video, this quick video in regards to selecting a camera that is suited for tourists, that is easy to operate, that is fun to operate. It is not the best out there, but with everything weighed in, everything as far as usability, as far as flexibility, as far as expandability, stuff that something that you can also grow with. I think this particular Sony, the ZV E10, which is a crop sensor camera, right, is actually a decent choice. This is Charles Richard. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you on our next video. Bye bye.